Marc Jackson, NBC, Philadelphia, former NBA player with a bunch of different teams. He joins us now on the Boardwalk on Hotline. Welcome back, Mark. How are you?
I'm outstanding, fellas. How are y'all?
Well, we got a lot going on, my man. Yes,
we do.
All right. Let's start with the game last night. We've been talking so much about stuff off the court. I definitely want to get your opinion on what happened on the court last night and, the call. The call that is going to be talked about potentially for a long, long time. Judgment call. What did you see?
When it was live action, I thought it was a challenge. But when they showed it in slow motion, I did believe LeBron did move a little bit. But to me, I thought it was a charge. I thought it was an offensive foul.
In real time.
In real time. But when they slowed it down, it's a block.
At that point, when the referees go to the video, I don't have a problem if you go into the video, Mark, but only to see if he was in the restricted area. They shouldn't be able to change their mind. It's, were you in the restricted area or were you not? The call was the call, and if we see it in the video that we might have got it wrong. But there wasn't conclusive evidence to sway your mind, right?
Listen, I think it was interesting how it all came to fruition. Van Gundy, who was calling the game again?
The television broadcasters?
Yeah.
It was Van Gundy and Marc Jackson.
Van Gundy.
The other Marc Jackson.
Yeah, you were there last night, don't you remember?
He just spoke about the referees get graded on every call. And then that happens. Because he's like, why don't we, I don't think that was the subject, but he's just like, why don't we get all the information, see what grades they get on every call. And I was just like, you can't do that because then a referee already scrutinized more than you're scrutinized. And then that call. So then back to the call, how can you go back to change a foul call? With that being said, how can you do that? I mean, think about it. If that's how you're going to look at it, who needs referees? We should just let the computer and the monitors call every call.
They had a bad night last night. They were bad all night, man.
Oh, it was – listen, I've never, ever have gone off on a referee. I've never criticized a referee because I do think they're human. I think they can make mistakes just like all of us. But that last night going to have a few people, not just the referees, whoever's in the caucus, monitoring that game to actually say, let's change this call. I think, with all that being said, there's a lot of heads that's rolling all day to day in that office.
I mean, Mark, Steve Javie, who they go with, Steve Javie used to live in Plymouth Meeting. I grew up in Plymouth Meeting. He had an office there. I played his charity golf tournament before. He used to have his run-ins with Allen Iverson back in the day, but the guy was an NBA referee from 86 to 2011. He's been around the game. They go to him and say, do you think it's a block or a charge? And he says he thinks it's a charge. And then all of a sudden, kaboom. And by the way, his birthday's the day after ours, just in case you wanted to know that personal information. So, I mean, if Steve Javie says it's a charge, right?
It is a charge. If Steve Javie says it's a charge, it is a charge. So here's the lava, boom, boom, it's a charge. So why are we going to monitors? Why are we looking at it? It's a charge. So what's going on? It's a charge. So then we go to a monitor. I just think it was such a black eye. The referees in any sport at any level get scrutinized and gets killed. But now, with that happening last night, I think it has took now every call every referee makes from 5-year-olds all the way up to the Olympics will be just ridiculed and second-guessed because of that call last night and the way they handled it after the call was made.
And, of course, that's just one thing that took place last night, J.R. Smith. I mean, Mark, if you can, get inside the head of J.R. Smith and try to explain to Mike Gill and I, what the heck was he thinking?
Listen. I hate to say this because I was teammates with J.R. Smith his rookie year when he was in the Hornets. And J.R. was always a good guy, always a great guy. But remember, when he came out of high school, he was just an athlete who really couldn't keep the feet consistently, but he was an incredible athlete. That game sums up J.R.'s career. He doesn't mean to do certain things. with that being said, he downs the ball, undercuts Klay Thompson, almost ruins his career or ends his season. Then, at the end of the second quarter, he goes for a gamble that he knew he wasn't going to get. And then there's Steph Curry open, and he hits the three to tie the game going into halftime. Then it's a tie game. You get a rebound right under the rim with 4 seconds left, and you go out to the three-point line. And your whole teammates are screaming, you shoot the darn goal. That sums up J.R. Smith's career in a nutshell. Those 3 instances of J.R. not being all the way engaged in game play.
It's amazing, too, that he is a, 4-time NBA champion?
Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for the guy. I really feel bad for the guy. But it's just that those plays sums up his career.
Yeah, well, so what is he thinking there? I mean, he gets the rebound. He said afterwards, now, you could read his lips, he said they thought they were up. Then afterwards he says, I knew we were tied. I thought we were calling timeout. Is he trying to run the clock out? Does he not know where? Does he think that their basket's down the other end of the court? I mean, he gets that rebound. What's going through his mind right there? What would you surmise he thought?
Dude, can I be honest, guys? I just really think he had a brain fart. I just think he had a brain fart. We all have him sometimes. He just had a brain fart. But that comes from you not being fully engaged in the game.
Okay, but all right, let's stop right there for a second. I get it that he might not have been fully engaged in the game, and he might have had a brain fart, and maybe he's a space cadet, and that's just who he is. But should Lou or somebody else or something should have happened? Should somebody do they huddle there and say, guys, we're tied, go right back up? Should they call a timeout? Should somebody have taken somebody above him maybe been more, I'm not saying that be more accountable because he's accountable for his own actions, but should there have been a fail-safe there?
Yes. You should have huddled up. You should have a game plan. This is what he makes moves, he misses moves, he makes one. This is what we need to do. You got to have contingencies. Everybody got to be the same page. You got to be ready. So, yes, evidence should have been there. So, yes, some of the blame is on Lou, but not as much as on J.R. Smith. I don't want to point that finger nowhere but the J.R., man. I'm so disappointed in J.R. Smith's ability to not engage himself in a championship series. That was a total brain fart. I'm going to point the finger at Lou and all J.R. in that play.
Marc Jackson, 13-year pro basketball career, NBA analyst at Jacko2544, with his thoughts on last night's just, deflating loss for them. I mean, do you see them able to bounce back, or is that the game and that the moment that will really – and which play is more deflating? The LeBron change the call or the J.R. Smith snafu? Which play, weighs on them more?
I think J.R. Smith snafu. I really do. I think because even after the ban call LeBron, they still had a chance to win that game. J.R. Smith got that rebound right under the basket. He was 2 feet away from the basket. I don't care if Shaq, Dikembe, and Akeem Olajuwon is on there. If you're doing strong, it's a possibility that you're going to get fouled or stolen or fixed.
Right.
The likelihood is...
No, he said if I go up with the ball, I'm going to get my shot blocked by KD.
That's just a cop-out.
Right. Well, what's the difference? Even if you get your shot blocked, there's 4 seconds left. If he blocks your shot, the ball's on the floor rolling around for 2 seconds. I mean, that's better than what he did.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm not one of the best players because I'm a former player myself, and I sometimes got to see these guys, and I always shake their hand and square up, get ready for a fight. Because we're not being engaged in media. So, but I'm going to tell you right now. He gave every excuse but the right excuse. The right excuse, the right thing would have said, I had a brain fart. I should have went out with the ball. Cost my team a chance to win the game. Period. All that last this no, you didn't. You weren't engaged. You said about where you was going there after the game. You just don't shoot yourself in the foot more than you already put your foot in your mouth more than you already have. Just man up and accept the fact that you screwed up and move on.
Mark, okay, so after the game, you got him saying he thought it was tied and they were going to call a timeout. His coach said he thought we were winning. Does the team get together afterwards on such a play and at least collaborate the same story? Obviously not, but is that normal on something like that? Hey, guys, you know the media is going to ask you about this. Like, let's get on the same page here. They look like total buffoons.
They do. They do. That was a black eye on not just Darryl Smith, but on their coaching staff, on that whole organization. That was just, I don't know how to say it anymore. That was just horrible. That was just horrible. That was just horrible for that team. And here's the thing. You had a chance to steal that game from Golden State Warriors NHL. And you let that happen. And you know what? So if you go back and watch overtime, when I seen overtime, from the first play, I knew that it was done. From the first play, LeBron drove that Hill went to the basket and tried to double pump, and he missed the layup. And then LeBron drove baseline, picked the ball up, looked at the pad. I said, "It's over. It's over." They were so deflated from the thing that the charge call, the J.R. Smith thing. They were so deflated. I knew the game was over. You know it's gonna have like we gave too, right? Golden State's probably gonna be about 90 points.
Right.
Because they're so deflated. Golden State's probably gonna break the record for the largest point differential in a championship series history. I mean, because they're so deflated. I don't know if you can recover from that, because that was such a snafu that it can probably cost them the series. Even though people didn't give a chance to win the series, but you had a chance to beat them in their home floor.
Yeah, or they could pull together. That Laker Pistons series where the Lakers were heavily favored. They won game one, and then the Pistons swept them out afterwards. And that game one was kind of a rocky game one for Detroit. I think they lost in a weird way, and they were a heavy underdog in that series. But let me ask you, because that Laker team seemed like they were kind of falling apart, that team. Does this Warrior team, I'm not saying they're falling apart, but it feels that they're not the same. There's something that seems to be lacking from them.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I agree. They're not the same team. They're not. If you notice, there's less ball movement. There's less ball movement all around. And respectfully, I don't want to blame it on KD, but he's the only different piece there. There's less ball movement. Also, I also think that Hampton five they call themselves, I hate it. I really despise it. Because I really think, to me, I think it was an eye-opening thing versus Golden State versus Houston. Showed me that Golden State couldn't keep the ball in front of them. The only person they could was Klay Thompson. Yes, Kevin Durant can play. He can get away with kind of like getting beat in the recovery because of the extreme wingspan. But Houston was able to beat Golden State off the dribble whenever they went to. I'm not just talking about James Harden. I'm not just talking about Chris Paul before he got hurt. I'm talking about Tucker. I'm talking about Ariza. I'm talking about Gordon. It was eye-opening of me. So that showed me that they were not the same defensively. So with those two things, with KD messing up the flow on offense maybe, and Andre Iguodala not being in that lineup, and with them getting beat off the dribble so much, the Houston series showed me that they're not the same team defensively, and they're not the same team offensively as previous years.
Marc Jackson with us, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Sixers pre- and post-analyst, played in the league, covers the league, and I'm sure has never seen a story like this with Bryan Colangelo. Let's get into that, Mark, and talk about, you read the story, I'm sure, the Ringer story. And
several times. Several times, I couldn't believe it.
Do you think that Bryan Colangelo could have done this?
No. But I'm going to tell you. Me and Marshall Harris have been having a conversation about this every day since it broke, for 12 hours a day going back and forth. And I'm going to tell you, the things I said when it broke. I said, first of all, here's the 4 things. It was him, which is very unlikely. 2 is his wife. 3 is his child. Or 4 is somebody else he's extremely close to that he shares confidential information. I said the first one is unlikely. But I said the other 3 is guaranteed as one of those 3 people. And my Marshall said, what could it be somebody who's a Sam Hickey fan that just got it out for him? I said, no, I don't think so. I said it's one of those 3 people. It's either a wife, a child, or somebody that is somebody he shares confidential information to. That's what I first assumed. But I thought, being him, I thought, no, he wouldn't dare put himself in that situation.
And yet he's still in a world of trouble and a world of hurt. So how about this then? You had a personal interaction with him. You told us that story that one time about, tell that again, about your interaction with him as a player and what kind of character you found him to have back then and you've observed now.
Well, I know, but see, the thing I had when I was traded, I had an agreement in my thing where I had to agree to trade. So I agreed. I played for the Golden State Warriors. I agreed to be traded to the Phoenix Suns, and we actually played the Phoenix Suns on a Friday. Trade was going to go through a Monday, and the team said, Mark, you actually stay out there if you want, because the trade would officially go to a Monday. I said, bet. So I'm out driving around looking for houses, speaking with Mr. Colangelo. We're doing things on the business. Trade officially is going to go through. He comes into the locker room after the game and said, Gary St. is the general manager at the time.
Who was that? Gary St. John, you said?
Gary, yes. Gary.
Okay.
I thought it was Gary St. Jean.
Yep.
St. John.
Yep.
Was the general manager, and he backed out of the deal. So he was very transparent with me and very open. He was more ticked off about it than I was. So that's how his character to me is bigger than this. I can't see him doing that because to me, he took it personally, not just because at that time he felt that I was a good enough player to help his organization, but he felt so bad for me how they agreed to the deal, sent the paperwork into the NBA, and then Golden State backed out the deal. So he was just as hurt about it for me personally as I was. So I don't see that in his character, him doing this. I don't see that.
Okay, then. The question that I guess would be next is, you were a player in the league. If it's not him and it's somebody else did this, it's still his information, right? He had to have at least, you would think, allegedly anyway, passed this information along to somebody who then took it upon themselves. Would you feel comfortable signing with the Sixers?
Ooh, that's a good one. As a free agent, I think this hurts the Sixers. Yes, because I would have some questions. But the way agents are now, I'm quite sure whoever's thinking about signing with them is having their agent investigate this whole situation. Is having this whole situation investigated before they make a decision. But it is going to play a part in my decision, yes.
Right.
But free agent, yes, I will come, yes.
Right. I mean, yesterday we had on Sarah Todd, who covers the Sixers for the Inquirer, and she said she spoke to a handful of players, and unanimously they all said, nope, couldn't trust them.
Yes. I mean, his credibility may be shot no matter who. Listen, gentlemen, whenever they find out who did this, let's say it was a Sam Hickey Patriot who wants to kind of sabotage him for the benefit of being a Sam Hickey fan. No matter how it comes out at the end, this has ruined his credibility.
Yeah.
Because some of the information that was said I couldn't believe was out on Twitter. Like the thing about the Okafor, encouraging the media to ask questions about why Okafor can he pass a physical attack. And the thing that I see was even more deeper was the Dwayne Wade Gabrielle Union comment, comment about the way they treat him. I was sitting next to you, which means this was somebody high up. You see what I'm saying? So when those two instances right there, I was like, ooh, this is deeper than it looks. This is deep.
So
those two things to me, yes.
So ultimately, I mean, there's the reports, they're not looking good. I mean, it sounds as if, at first he said, I don't know anything about it. Now he's saying, well, maybe it was my wife. But, I mean, even if he has no involvement, how do the Sixers move on with him employed with them? I don't see how they can do it, right?
They can't. They can't.
Yeah.
Marc
Jackson.
Because if they wasn't trying to get no free agents, I think they would have a year to kind of clean slate as far as to make it right. But they're trying to get some top free agents this year. I just think they got to make a move, and they got to make a move now.
Marc Jackson, you got your camp coming up still?
Yes, sir. Got my camp coming up June 25th. The first camp is June 25th. The week of June 25th, 9 to 3. The second camp is July 9th. Both camps held at the incredible Girard College campus. It's going to be a great event. I have kids registered from as far as South Carolina, Florida, New York. This is going to be a great opportunity for people who really want to get their game to another level. This is going to be an incredible experience for everyone. And for more information, contact me on my website, Jacko25 LLC. That is JACKO LLC.com. Jacko25LLC.com.
All right. Very cool. You can check that out at his Twitter account, too, at Jacko2544. And that is for boys and girls ages 8 to 15. So I did have a coach in the area ask me about that, and there's the ages for you. I did not have that answer to that question for him, but it is ages 8 to 15. I see that on the flyer here. Marc Jackson, everybody here on the Boardwalk on the Hotline. Thank you, Marc.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.